Good day, everyone. I am Rotzen S. Alvano, and today I will discuss the topic using research as a teaching strategy. But before we proceed to our formal discussion, let us define first the word research. Research, it is from the old French word recherche, meaning to investigate thoroughly. Research is also defined as seeking through methodical process to add to one's own body knowledge and hopefully to that of others by the discovery of non-trivial facts and insights. I firmly believe that we are researchers in our own way because we humans are innate curious about everything. We always ask for why and how, and we tend to figure out for that specific answer only to satisfy our curiosity and also our being, and that's what research does not lead us into acquiring new knowledge and finding out solutions or profound answers to a problem and somehow draw on our our own conclusions out from it. The definition from the previous slide conveys the idea that research has two important components. First, um, inquiry that is carried out systematically and perf- purposefully. Meaning to say that there is a process or step by step procedure to be followed, and most importantly, you know your purpose why you need to do your research. Second, inquiry that focuses on revealing some new knowledge. Basically, we learn new knowledge through the data that was gathered and analyzed. And now, these are the important steps in any research. First is clear purpose. Know your purpose well. Ask yourself, how will this research benefit other people? Is this relevant in the current times? And that being said, we must formulate a question that we will answer. Second, detailed plan. There must be a detailed plan for trying to answer that question so that research will be systematic. Third, data must be gathered and analyzed. Data must be gathered and analyzing attempt to answer the question so that new knowledge can be revealed. And lastly, conclusions must be reached. It is either to answer the original question or to explain why we could not find an answer. To use research as a teaching strategy, you have to help the students understand and work through each of those stages so that they can learn how to investigate, experiment, relate information, and draw logical conclusions. So, here are the three approaches to research. First, research based on finding, interpreting, and using information that has been produced by someone else. The best example for here is research about historical accounts and compare them to research that use existing information or what we call the secondary sources, even though that information might be reinterpreted to provide a new perspective. Number two, research based on gathering, interpreting, and using information that did not exist before the research conducted. Third, research based in some form of experimentation. It is often called true experimentation, uses the scientific method to establish the cause and effect relationship among group of variables that make up a study. Here's a tip. When student research is used as a teaching strategy, the research question should focus on important issues to which students can relate but which the student do not fully understand. Otherwise, there is no point of doing research then. So, when and why should the research be used as a teaching strategy? So, here are some of the advantages of using research as a teaching strategy. So, first, research encourages the learners to ask questions, to investigate, to discover, and to create answer for themselves. So, so it helps learners to be more independent, who believe they are capable of understanding complex issues and discovering new knowledge by themselves. So, number two, research can enable the learners to develop a deeper level of understanding. So, it encourages them to strive for more than superficial learning. So, number three, research helps the learners to progress from what they already understand to what they need to understand. So it encourages them to be metacognitive or knowing about knowing. So next, research can challenge, engage, and extend all the learners, not just more capable learners. So doing research is not just for capable learners, it is for everybody. We are all capable in doing research that challenge and engage us into different social issues. So next, research encourages critical thinking and reflection. So this encourages learners to view knowledge as problematic, to recognize that there are still unresolved and unanswered questions. So next, research can provide a meaningful context for the learners to use and develop their communication skills. So um, both are extremely important in the context that we have extensive amounts of information that are available online, and with this we would be able to identify information whether a source is credible or not, and it helped the learners develop not just um, oral communication skills but also the reading and writing skills, which also derive to increase their level of comprehension. So research can help the learners develop their organizational and time management skills. Next, research can be a fun and motivating way to learn, particularly um, for the gifted learners. So, next is research can give the learners experience working in the way professionals work. Next, research can help the learners understand the essential nature of a field. So, next is research that requires a student to think different and deeper ways. Um, Through thinking deeply, we can create and entertain thoughts that are more meaningful and vulnerable. So, research can teach the learners on how to make use of the sources of information that are available in their local community. Next, research can be effective way of getting the parents involved in their child's education. Research provides the teachers with an opportunity to stand back and observe the learners analyze the ways in which they interact with one another and to reflect on their learning styles. So research projects provide an ideal opportunity for you to help the learners develop their computing skills and their familiarity when modern technologies such as the internet. So, this can start with simple things such as having the students interview their parents on a designated topic and then sharing the data so that the class will be analyzing the full data to answer a research question. So, next, use student research if first, the outcomes you want the students to achieve are readily related to issues beyond the classroom. Next, the learners have sufficiently high prior knowledge to guide their own learning. So the students are self motivated and can learn with minimal assistance. And if you want to encourage the students to take a deep approach to learning. So next, you want the student to learn how to enjoy learning. So next is you want to encourage the students to be independent learners. So next is you want learning to be driven by the students' curiosity. So do not use student research if, first, the students lack the basic skill to work independently or in small groups. Next, the students have very poor literacy. Next is the students do not have access to the equipment or information they need to produce worthwhile data from their research. Next is you cannot allow the students sufficient time to complete the research task. So, how to use research as a teaching strategy? You have to plan carefully for each of these things. You might proceed as follows. First, decide exactly what you want the students to learn. You should have clear learning outcomes. Next, develop a suitable research question or set of questions that will be the focus of the students' research activities and that will help them achieve the desired learning outcomes. And next is identify what prior knowledge and skills the students will need in order to conduct the research. So, if necessary, teach prior knowledge. It may involve first teaching for research or developing the students' understanding of the subject, or teaching about research, developing the students' understanding of how to do research. And next, identify a number of strategies that the students might use if they are to be successful in the research, and be prepared to recognize and encourage the students who use these approaches. So next is plan the lesson in which you will introduce the students to the research exercise. You need to explain what you want the students to learn and what you expect from them during their research. Next, plan how will you monitor the students' progress. This should involve at least being able to identify the parts of the research exercise that are likely to cause the most difficulties for the students. So, decide what difficulties might be and develop some strategies for minimizing these difficulties. So, next, make sure you have arranged for the students to get appropriate access to equipment, documents, or people so that they can gather the data necessary for the research. Next, plan how will you assess the students learn from the research. Next is plan how you will evaluate the research activity. So it is also important that you prepare students for their research. Um, these are the considerations. So follow these guidelines. First, explain carefully to the students why you are using this strategy and what or how you expect they will learn from it. So second, spell out your expectations and check that the students understand such things as when they will be doing the research as they will be doing the research, how will time it will take, what sort of things they will be doing, what type of product you expecting them to produce, how will you assess their learning, whether you expect them to work in teams or individually, and what you will be doing while they are engaged in their research. So next is we need to involve the students in the planning process. So motivate them by showing the research that has been done by your previous students or students from other batches in the campus. So we should keep in mind that in research, we can find answers to things that are unknown. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something from my report. So thank you and God bless.